All right, welcome, Miss Lack of Lepers. We are picking back up after a crazy week that I'll spare you the details of with the Dr. Gears interview by Shawn Saxum. So we are working our way through this slowly, and let us pick up where we, I believe, left off.
Or should we leave it open for everybody to come in? And we decided to leave it open.
Yeah, so they're talking about. Let me turn that up just a wee bit. Sounds like that's kind of quieter than it usually is because of the crazy week, but forget that.
Sat down and said, should we lock the wiki? Should we lock the wiki and only let ourselves and a handful of approved people publish? Or should we leave it open for everybody to come in? And we decided to leave it open. This could have been a very, very, very different wiki. But
Yeah.
a bunch of guys sat down, and that's why I occasionally sort of chafe at sort of the review process. And that's needed, to make sure you're getting good quality in. It's a lot bigger, things have changed. But remember, when you do get up on the high horse a little bit, me and a handful of the guys said, no, we need to make sure, that this is open and people are able to get in. I would say they largely still are. But for a bit there, we were right on the cusp of locking that shit down. And it would have been a clearinghouse for maybe 20, 30 authors for a couple of years. So give that a thought. But no,
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, it's really a double-edged sword because the wiki never would have gotten to be as big as it is now without that sort of open door policy of collaboration. But really, we're at the point on the SCP Wiki now where no one can keep up with the new content coming out. There's just simply far and away entirely too much content coming out of the SCP Wiki. And I know because that's what I've been up to this past week. I trialed a live stream on Twitch every night where I read the previous day's SCPs. And typically the average I can safely say is about somewhere between 2 and 3 articles a day. And I did that for 4 days, and it was so exhausting. It took such a large amount of time to do that with very, very little reward that it became just absolutely infeasible. There's absolutely no way I was going to be able to continue that. And it was going to eat up basically all of my time if I was going to do that successfully. And so I had to make a decision. I really like doing these videos way better than reading SCP content because I can kind of do what I want to here. Whereas that I was beholden, and so was the show. The show was beholden to the quality, really, of the articles that were posted that day or that previous day. And I mention all that just to mention that this open door policy obviously has been a good thing. Everything has a natural death, and we're really at the point now where on the SCP Wiki, what you really get is just a very, very tremendous amount of a very narrow range of quality. And I would say probably 80%, 80 to 90% of the stuff that's posted to the SCP Wiki these days, and once again, there's just too much of it for anyone to keep track of, is more mundane, it's more mediocre than it ever has been. The stuff that will pass, the stuff that will be approved these days are of such lower quality than in previous years. And so, of course, that's just natural. The more popularity that you have, the larger the sample size, the more populated the center of the bell curve is going to be. But I think it's gotten to a point where that space really is dilating. As you scale to larger things, it's harder and harder to maintain standards. And so by this point, I think the SCP Wiki doesn't have very high standards at all. I think the standards that it once had have not scaled with its increasing popularity. And so it really is completely laborious to read. It's incredibly disappointing. It's incredibly difficult. So I think there's a sweet spot where this open door policy obviously was a big win and a hugely successful decision. I think they did it right, but we are now well past the point of that decision's viability, and the SCP Wiki now is just it's one big shrug of mediocrity that occasionally is broken by a really good article.
If I went full tyrant I would rip out that voting module and remove it. Period.
Good.
Every article, everything. Fuck it. Gone.
See, I mean,
And
Wouldn't blame you, honestly.
this is the kind of vindication that I love to hear, because obviously this is the first time I'm hearing Dr. Gears say this. In my career at RPC, I did that voluntarily. You know, I couldn't quite get to the point of removing it because people would just add it because it's supposed to be there. So I just put it in a collapsible. So it's just nice to hear that Dr. Gears and I have the same thoughts on this. I've long railed against the rating module, and I do think it would be better if it wasn't there at all, because you can still vote on the page. You have to scroll all the way down. You have to scroll all the way down to see the rating. That's really where it should be. So I totally agree with him.
raise hell? Oh my God, yeah. That would be. Oh my Lord, yes, that would be awful. And
yeah, I mean, it's taking the pacifier, it's taking the teat away from the baby. Of course, it's going to be a problem.
Kind of monitor in the background or something, and it would just come down to reviewing a lot of stuff, which would be really, really hard. But I would say the vast majority of the problems are directly related to that fucking voting module. And if it was gone, they wouldn't be there. The issue being is there's a lot of problems that if you just remove the thing, it will deal with the problem. It's not a good idea. It's like I don't like mosquitoes. If I could, I would remove them all. That would become really problematic really fast. But it would deal with my problem.
That's a good point.
I would say with the voting system, it works for what it is.
Yeah.
But I think you get too many people clout chasing.
Yep.
And
we're still really, really in that. You would think that by now, because like I said, it has become a little more mainstream of a realization. You think that would be sort of like on the mend. It's absolutely not. If you make the mistake of dipping into the Twitter sphere of SCP, it's really ubiquitous. It's almost guaranteed. You're going to have people on their Twitter who've pinned screenshots of their own articles reaching milestones, or their own Twitter follower count reaching milestones. It really, everybody does it. There are very, very few people who are not smoking from that pipe.
Make number go bigger, make bad people number go smaller, and just lose the fucking plot.
Yep.
Lose the fucking plot. And
holy shit, he said my fucking line. He said my fucking line. That's lose the plot. That's the name of my series on my damn blog. Did he read that shit? Fuck. I messaged Dr. Gears like 2 weeks ago. He never responded. I didn't think that he would. My God. So maybe not. But I mean, he's fucking using the same words I did. I mean, are we really on the same wavelength like this? Or did he read what I wrote? I don't know. But they've absolutely lost the plot. Guys, I mean, if you're not going to listen to me, listen to Dr. Gears. I mean, holy shit. Y'all are driving the SCP Wiki into the ground. I just spent the last week trying my hardest to read everything that comes out of it. And I mean, sure, it was a logistical issue time-wise, but you couldn't pay me to do that. Okay? That's the other part of it. Is I got to the point after 4 days. On the 5th day, I got to the point where I couldn't stomach the idea. I saw that 4 articles had been posted instead of the usual 2, and I said, you know what? I'm done. That's it. And a lot of it has to do with this problem, that they're very intertwined. Because you have people who are chasing clout. To chase the clout, you have to reduce the quality. You have to dilute the quality of your article. You have to write for the lower denominator. And that is a race to the bottom, wherein you will eventually be writing for the lowest common denominator. And so you have a whole class of authors who are better than what their typical article will demonstrate. People like DJ Cactus, people like Rounderhouse, people like Harry Blank. All these people have the ability to write better than what their articles dip to the level of. Their compositions are satisfied with being on the intellectual level of a middle schooler, which is an inversion from what it used to be, where people were trying to write well above their age. And so this is really why you see a lot of that mediocrity. It's really become more about what style can I write to get the upvotes. And then, of course, the copycats who are less talented than people like DJ Cactus, Rounderhouse, and Harry Blank just saturate it with absolute garbage. People like Jay Dune, people like Lord XNV, or whatever that guy's name is, the entirety of Site 43. All this is a mistake in the DNA that is being replicated again and again and again and amplified. And that's really why you get this. That's really how you lose the plot, is because you've completely lost sight of what you're supposed to be doing, which is you're supposed to be writing as good as you can, not from a commercial standpoint. Okay, that's not the heart of the wiki, is to write commercially.
But that's all it is. It's just a
right.
vague indication. So there you have it.
You can't let it be the reason you write.
No, you really.
Yeah, well, that's. I'm not going to interrupt as much, but this is just a serious issue for me. I mean, yeah, that's why. I would say that most people write on the wiki for that. Period. It's easy to see. It's not even hidden. I mean, once again, if you can't see it on the actual wiki, go check out these people's Twitter's profiles. They'll tell you it explicitly. It's very clear that's what they're writing for.
You really, really can't. Because if you're just doing it for praise, you're going to end up like Stephen King. That's no good.
Yes. Stephen King, man, what happened to that guy? I guess this. Look, so once again, my whole shtick, the whole reason I'm here, what the fuck am I doing in a space where I'm not getting any love, where I'm not really liked, people ignore me, they think I'm crazy, I'm banned, I'm one of the SCP Wiki's 2 favorite anti-harassment banned people, as Shaggy would put it. But I mean, what am I doing here, right? I'm not here for praise. I'm not doing this because I think people are going to like me. Fuck. I mean, I'm here because, God damn it, I'm seeing a genre being driven off of a cliff by these people. And if no one's going to say something about it, I mean, most of the people doing this are too young and too impressionable to even stand up to this. They can't even develop the independent thought. And if they do, it's not going to surface. Not in that environment. So, I'm happy to yell at the quarterback from the sidelines.
I have a ton of Stephen King. I loved him growing up and stuff. As things have gone on, if you can sneeze in your sleeve and send it to your publisher and make the New York Times bestseller list, problems are gonna come up. Your quality's not gonna stay up there.
No, because you have a totally different work ethic from when you are just scraping the bottom of your spirit and your soul, and you're praying hard with your artistic spirit to write something good. And once you've gotten to a point where you can rest on your laurels, and you're sleeping in silk sheets, I mean, your environmental pressures have changed so much that, yeah, of course there's going to be a change in your work ethic. That's really the mark of somebody great, is somebody who can sustain that level of self-pressure, who can sustain that level of, I'm going by my own standard, and have I met it yet? People who will let success ruin their writing, who will the effect of success on them, the effect of this upvote module and the rating module is a rat poison, to their artistic spirit and to the genuineness of it as well. Those people, they can't do it. They don't have the intellectual disciplinary muscle to prevent that from happening when they get successful. It's just so sad to see so many people. I'm thinking of Uncle Nicolini, particularly. So many people in the SCP. They're innocent, sort of naive, sort of doe-eyed, but at the same time, just that's what it's all about. Sort of spirit gets completely digested in the machine, in the beast that is the SCP Wiki, and they come out the other side obsessed with upvotes.
If you can kind of work the system and make the numbers get bigger, and you have a real strong cheering section, and no matter what you put up there, it's going to be voted good, it's going to fuck up your writing style. So there you have it.
Right. Very interesting. I honestly completely agree with you. Yeah. I say this despite the fact that I am. It is so fun to see the number go up, but I do have to actually stop myself from wanting to.
I'm in there. I'm in there right with you, going number bigger.
Yeah. So here's the thing: you can't understand how true these things are unless you experience them. So yeah, at one point, 2018, I was captured by this system as well. It was really ugly. I mean, you can ask people like Shaggy. He had a pretty good insight as to. I had a serious problem with reception. I was holding myself up to standards like DJ Cactus's, where his first articles had like hundreds of upvotes, and mine wouldn't. Most of those on his end being sort of retro spillover, trickle down from his more successful later works. He wasn't always that successful, but you couldn't tell me that. I was completely poisoned by this, and some people are fine. This is partially a personal thing, and in my case, it was to the extent that I'm competitive. But that's to try to pin it completely on a personal thing, like this is a you thing, is disingenuous. I mean, that's just dishonesty. There's absolutely a cultural pressure, and it's very, very easy to see. But yeah, so Dr. Gears, I mean, no one is above this, right? That's the point. No one is, the whole point of the upvote flattery is that I'm better than you, is sort of the mentality that these authors get who have more upvotes, for example, for someone. In this past week, when I've read all these SCPs, the best ones had the lowest scores. I mean, the ones that were absolutely ridiculously idiotic had the high ones, had the high ratings. I mean, we're talking as objective as things as grammar and stuff. Missing periods, missing capitalizations, just tremendously embarrassing errors that are completely, they're not even noticed, by the people who are controlling, the voting class, controlling the direction of the definition of quality on there. So I mean, it's sad to see.
I put the module in everything that I published, just like everything else. But man, if it didn't, I'd be like, wow, that sucks.
Right. I mean, like, it's just a basic human wish, just to see things get better. See number. Somebody just upvoted my art. Actually.
Yeah. So my point is that people who are trying to be elitist about how much upvotes they have, these are really insecure people who need those upvotes to hoist their own self-esteem. Without them, their self-esteem plummets. And so no one is no one is above that. But the difference is that the difference is not pretending like you're above the upvote dopamine. The difference is knowing what it is, and if you don't make very conscious, very public, very modeled efforts to rise above that, together. I mean, it's not a trivial thing to overcome, but that's why it is an important thing to overcome.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Back from the beginning, it's like I have a bigger pile of smooth rocks than you do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bigger pile. Yeah, it's like trying to beat somebody with an "I'm smarter than you" stick. But I mean,
It's just a basic wish for superiority.
Exactly.
And in the same way that anything, when you rank anything, you're going to get people disparity and problems with that.
Yeah,
I think that's
there's like a rule of the internet with that. I can't remember what it is, but it's somebody's law.
The original sin.
Yep.
Wiki, to a certain extent. It's always there, but it's not good.
Yep. The original sin.
But,
I like that so much.
Pedal just a little bit. I can't believe I didn't ask about this. I honestly just set my mind somehow. But tell me about your time as the administrator. What happened there?
So about that. Nepotism ahoy. So
if it's not something you want to talk about, that's okay.
No, it's fine. No, it's absolutely fine. It was the administrator come in, who was Fritzwilly, apparently, which is really weird because I had no idea, at all. And apparently he had told people at one point, and I just, man, if he told me, I don't remember. But regardless,
that's funny.
He had sat for a while. But what had happened was we needed access to certain aspects of the site that had to be overseen by the administrator, and he wasn't there. So they appealed to Wikidot, and they said, hey, I was one of the older active authors. That's weird to say now. I had written a lot of stuff, and people had a lot of stuff with it. They said, hey, would you want to be the administrator? I said, I will level with you. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So I never run a forum. I've never run a community. I just write stuff. They're like, no, it'll be fine. You just kind of have to manage things from time to time. It's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So they made me the administrator, and I did nothing. It's really bad. I helped
Good.
things up.
That's what you should do as the administrator. Hands off, baby.
It's terrible to say. I hate to say that, but there it is.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse. You could have done bad things.
I could have done bad things. Ultimately,
that's what they do these days.
And to a certain extent, that's like what I needed to do. Just don't fuck with it. And sometimes that's what you need in a leader. Just don't fuck with it.
God.
And that's,
do you see why I love Gears? I mean, I'd love him even if he disagreed with me on all this shit. But it's such a sweet icing.
The rallying cry of my tenure. And I'd kind of gone away from this stuff. I kind of go through periods of sort of dormancy and come back around and such. And I guess I'm going through an active period now. Hopefully it'll last, regardless. At one point, some of the guys on the site came and said, hey, we need access to the site. We need, kind of pull you off as administrator. Could you sort of hand it over? It's like, yeah, sure. I don't have any problem with that. And sort of passed off from my hands. I was a good placeholder. I guess, but I really didn't do anything with it. I remember one of the first things I did was I think I deleted the forum by accident. Like I deleted the link, like the way it's structured.
Yeah, I think I
There's
remember
like
reading
one
that
little
actually.
piece that makes the forum go, and if you delete it, the forum vanishes. And I deleted it. I know of at least 6 other people who have.
Yeah.
Down through the years, like, oh shit, what did I do? And it's still there. You just can't see it. I was like, oh my god, what did I do? It's like scrambling to try and throw it back on. It's like, no, it's fine.
Like a grandma who deletes the internet.
Oh my god, it really was like, oh my god. Well, we're dead now. Now we're all gonna die. That's a problem. It really was. It's like, oh my god, I don't know what's going on. But no, largely I just kind of sat.
It's like a diluvian thing. It's like the Great Flood.
And was sort of the final throw.
Probably needs to happen again, honestly.
A few things, a few conflicts. But generally just didn't fuck with shit, and then eventually passed on to I hope more capable hands.
No, it really went downhill after you, my man.
Want to do things.
Maybe a few in there who were fine.
I enjoyed it, and it was I was only kind of conscious that it was more of an honor than like anyone actually expected to. Well, at least I think. I hope that's what people believed.
It's like it should be like a sinecure position. Like, hey, you're doing a great thing. Just have this title, and then keep doing what you're doing because that's what got you to the point of being recognized for it. I mean, once you it's a well-known fact that once you get on staff, you basically get absorbed. Once again, you get digested, and whatever good you were doing to get to that point, you have to forget about and leave. And that's kind of one of the other reasons why I quit doing this nightly Twitch cast after 4 days is because it became very clear very quickly, 4 days quickly, that I wasn't going to be able to write. I mean, I have limited time, and so there's just a scarcity of it, and I had to make a decision about, do I want to do this Twitch stream reading just absolutely sleepy SCP articles that barely have any redeeming qualities? Do I want to fill my time with that, or do I want to write? So it's a no-brainer to me. All right, so this has been a nice introduction. We're about 20 minutes in, so we'll cap the first video here. I might do another one tonight. It's just so nice to be back doing this. I'll probably do this on Twitch. I probably will, because fuck reading SCPs. Y'all take it easy.